How's it going, everybody? Fix It French back with another video, how to build a blanket ladder. If you would like a beautiful rustic blanket ladder just like this, stick around because I'm about to show you how to build it for only $14. Let's get into it. Alright, so real quick, let's go over some tools we're going to be using for this project. First of all, of course, a drill. We're going to need some screws. My screws might look a little bit different than what you're used to. These screws actually come with the jig that we'll be using for this project. This is the jig. And what this does, you clamp it down to the wood and you just put this drill in there and it makes what's called pocket holes, and it's just to hide the holes so you can't see them when your project's done. We're going to need a clamp. This is to hold my jig down and also to hold some wood down. The speed square, this will become your best friend. A tape measure, and these parts are actually for the distressing of the wood. We're going to use these wire brushes. We got 2 of them. We're going to use some chisels and also a torch, and I can't wait to show you how to make this build. Let's go get some wood. I'm going to get one 18-foot piece of 2x4, and I actually drove my car, so this definitely won't fit in my car. So what I'm going to have them do is cut it into 3 pieces of 6 foot. Just find the piece you like and they'll gladly do that for you. So here's the 3 pieces of 6 foot 2x4. This is in my garage, and this is what we're going to make a blanket ladder out of. We're going to grab our first piece of 2x4 and we're going to measure out 5 feet and 8 inches. I think 6 feet is just a little bit too tall, especially if this is going to be something in the living room. It's going to lean a little bit, so it'll be more like 5'6", but we're just going to measure that out, get our speed square, draw a line, and we're going to do the same thing on the next 2x4. Alright, so it's time to cut our first piece of wood. What we want to do is get the side of the blade to touch the very side of the line. That way we get our exact measurement, and we'll cut the first one, and let's cut the second one. Alright, we got the sides cut to the blanket ladder. Now let's get to the steps. I'm going to make each step 12 inches long, 1 foot. I think that'll be plenty. You just want to make sure there's enough space for when you fold blankets and put them on there. They're not too crunched up together. It makes the blanket ladder look just a lot better when it's complete. So we're going to keep measuring and cutting until we get 5 of these steps. Alright, so now that we have everything cut, the sides and the steps, we're going to get our jig and we're going to start making some pocket holes on the bottom of these steps. If you don't have a tool like this, you could always pre-drill on the side of the ladder. This is just a better way to do it. It hides the holes and the screws. Just put it on there, clamp it down, and then you start drilling like this. Alright, so we're actually going to make 4 pocket holes on each step. We're going to do one right here, and then we're going to move it over to the left side, and we're going to do one right beside it, just like this. And then when this is done, we're not going to flip the board over. We're just going to turn it around so that all 4 pocket holes are on the same side of the board. And when you flip it over, it'll actually be on the bottom. Here's Haley actually helping me finish these pocket holes out. I'm not actually going to record each pocket hole just to save time for the video. Alright, so now that we have everything cut and everything drilled, we're going to start distressing the wood. Here's some of the tools we're going to use to distress the wood. There's so many tricks out there. What a lot of people do is they'll just take a hammer and just pound on it, some chains, and just literally beat the wood to make it look a lot older. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our chisel and we're going to start making some small cuts in this, and we're going to start making some larger cuts in this. What this does is when you stain it, those holes and those cuts, when the stain gets on it, it will actually make the stain really deep, and it'll change the colors of it, and it won't just be one solid color. It'll be a lot darker and lighter and darker and lighter. And what I like to do is just turn the chisel sideways a little bit and make some of those longer cuts, and that's just one thing that we're going to be using. We're also going to do it to the steps. Next, we're going to get our drill and our wire brush, and we're going to turn it sideways, and we're going to just go up and down on this board. What it does, it really brings out the lines in this piece of wood, and it just makes the grooves a lot deeper. As you can see, as I'm doing right here, this piece is a lot better. And what it does is it just makes it look more like barn wood, that older wood, and that's what I like most about that. So we're going to take our torch and we're going to literally burn the wood. We don't want to torch it completely. I don't really like the look of that. Some people do. They will make it as black as can be and then just sand it down. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like burning it like this and then just putting a lighter stain on it so that the burn marks really pop out. And so we're just going to do that to each board, and there's not really a pattern you have to go in. I'm just going to keep going until I feel like I like it. And we're going to do each side of the board. We're going to flip it over. We're just going to keep burning all the parts of the blanket ladder. I said earlier, some people just take a hammer and beat the wood and just put some dents and marks in it, and that'll just help when you stain it. Those stain marks will just be so much deeper, and it'll just help change the look when you're actually done with the project. So we're going to start staining each piece of wood. We're just going to use a rag, and this stain that we're using is called Kona. It's something that matches a lot of things in our living room that I've already made. I like the burn marks, how they look when you put a light coat on, like I said earlier, and you can just see the grooves and how the stain works differently on different pieces. In that light coat, you can really see those burn marks pop out, and that's one thing I really like about doing it this way and putting that lighter stain on it. So after we stained each piece of wood, this is what we got. And if you look, you can see all those dents and those marks, those scratches, just how much deeper the stain is in them and how much it actually just pops. And you look at this piece. This is my favorite piece. This is a piece we're probably going to showcase most, turn it sideways so it's most visible in our living room. Just the way the burn marks and everything pops out on it. I love it. So next, we've got to put our steps on. So I'm going to do mine 12 inches off the bottom. So we already have our steps pre-drilled, and then we're going to put one corner on that 12-inch mark, and we're going to put the other corner even with the other side. You can't mess that angle up. There's only one angle that two corners can touch on 2x4s if you're using 2x4s. If you don't want to know what I mean, just take a 2x4 and try and put corners together and touch the side evenly. There's only one angle that works, so you can't mess that up. Now we're just going to start putting screws in our pocket holes. When we get those screwed in, we're just going to flip this over and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Measure out 12 inches, make sure it's level, and start screwing them in. And that is how you build a rustic blanket ladder. If my video helped you at all, if you liked it, consider subscribing. Like, comment, share. Make sure you put something in the comments telling me what kind of video you would like next. I could use ideas all day long. Thanks, guys. See you guys in the next video.